back to Hawaii Real with the new year 2021. Today I have with me photographer Nick Smith, and his website is contentinmotion.net. And we're going to talk about photography. We're going to talk about more layman terms kind of photography, but also delve into completely off subject, like geography and like nerding out on like Star Wars and nerding out on a little bit of paganism and stuff like that, and how that is kind of gravitated over history to modern day things that we do and take for granted day to day. Anyways, it's really cool stuff. Stay tuned.
Story, we can learn from all of these things, right? And watching movies is it could be very useful for somebody who's trying to learn how to communicate better visually, because they do it well. The good movies do it without saying anything. They show you.
Welcome back to Hawaii Real, everybody. I'm your host, EOK, who, if you haven't yet, please subscribe to this channel on YouTube, Hawaii Real. And if you want to just listen into the audio episodes, you can find it on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. And I also have a website up, HawaiiRealPodcast.com. You can find all the audio versions of these podcasts on that website, and you can listen directly there. And you can find all the short clip videos called Hawaii Real Shorts that I post. I post it to that website, HawaiiRealPodcast.com. Today I have with me buddy here, Nick Smith. He's a photographer, and he has helped me out with the lighting here, and it's looking good. It's looking awesome. I like it. But we're talking off camera. He's got like some deep thoughts into like what geography, looking at maps all day. But not only that, we were just talking about like paganism and how that has taken over, like not taken over, but like the basis of Christianity and a lot of these Western religions stems a lot from paganism. And we're just bringing in the new year, and we just celebrated Christmas and stuff like that. It's like, well, those have roots in pagan beliefs and stuff. Anyways, we'll get on to that. I did want to talk about photography and stuff like that. But Nick Smith, thank you so much for coming on the show, man.
Thanks for having me.
Did you come all the way from West Side?
Yeah.
Jeez, that's a long drive, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, without traffic, about an hour. But it's just because of the, all the there's a pretty good distance, I guess, in between Aina area and
you put on some miles today.
Sea country, out in Maili. But I don't mind driving, to be honest, and I like getting up to town sometimes. So, nice. Here I am.
Thanks for coming out, dude. So for all the people out there, we have cell phones, and we're all taking pictures of stuff. Some people take great pictures with their cell phones. Some people take crap pictures with their cell phones. And I guess a lot of people, they're not actually going out buying like DSLR cameras or really expensive cameras. They're just taking pictures, during the holidays or anytime, selfies, that kind of thing with their cell phone cameras. What should they be looking for as far as like, because you place a lot of importance on lighting.
Yeah.
What should they be looking for when they're taking a picture, like outside versus inside versus like, a selfie versus like a picture of the family?
Oh man. Well, there's so much to consider. And I do feel like you said, some people just, I don't know, they just got it.
They just got the eye.
They just got the eye. And I think the more I do it, the more experience I get. I think what I've realized is you just start to build this library of things that you dislike and then things that you do like. And because when you dislike something, if you can instantly go, oh yeah, no, that's not right. I think that's really valuable as a creative. Anybody, doing their cell phone family pictures and that kind of, that's super, super valuable still. That'll be the difference between a shot where it's completely backlit and somebody's, face is almost, indiscernible because they're a silhouette, versus the quote unquote good lighting, the angles and things like that. that stuff is I think to a certain extent, it's just kind of intuitive. And yeah, so some people are better at it than others. I think that.
So you're saying people that suck at it just suck at it.
I think that there are ways to improve. If there weren't ways to improve, I would still suck at it. Let's just put it that way.
So for the easy ones, should they be looking towards the sunlight or away from the sunlight?
You know, it's difficult to say. It depends on what you want out of your shot. I like to ask people, what are you trying to say? Like, that's probably where I would start. It might be a little bit more of an advanced train of thought, because I don't know if everybody looks at it that way. I'm sure no, not everybody looks at it that way, but you know, I think when you're talking to anybody who's shot quite a bit and they, you know, at least know what they're looking for, they could probably tell you like what they want that picture to say or achieve the goal. You know, do I want to look more attractive? Do I want to look more interesting? Am I trying to tell a story? Am I trying to just show this person as I see them? You know, maybe it's like some of my favorite photos are like there's these photos where you'll see some really old person, like a 100-year-old person or something like that. You can see every little crack and crevice and wrinkle in their face, and it's like, it's just intriguing to me. And obviously you have a purpose there, which is just to show them as they are. I think it's to honor their experience, their what they are currently, not try to pretty something up, not try to sugarcoat anything. But again, right, it's about the intention. So on any given day, I think, you know, most people, they just want to take pictures that are flattering of themselves and of others. And having sunlight at your disposal can be very useful. Of course, when it's too high in the sky, you start to get harsher shadows. They got the raccoon eyes, as people call it, right? If it's too high, it just goes whoop, right? And so that's why I like shooting at sunrise and sunset, because you get a more horizontal to 45-degree angle, kind of like how we have the light set up here, fills in some of the crevices under our eyes and that sort of thing. Just looks better. It's just an aesthetic thing at that point.
I think you hit the nail on the head when you're talking about what do you want your picture to say, or what's the story behind it? Because I think most people, including myself, never thought about, hey, what do I want this picture to say? I'm just taking a picture to take a picture. Like, hey, family, get on the couch together. Just take a picture. Just smile, please, smile.
Yeah, and that's okay.
You know, you're trying to fight all the kids to look at the camera. You fight the old people to keep their eyes open. It's like pulling teeth sometimes, but what do you want the picture to say? If you take that frame of mind into it, you can kind of create your own setup where you're actually taking a picture to say something. You know, what is it that you want to say? What is it you want to focus on? That kind of thing. Yeah,
because when I think if you were to really like dissect into someone's brain, you know, while they're looking at an image, because of course as humans we're super visual, and every little thing says something to us, right? Like people tell me all the time, oh, you look so tired. Are you okay? You sleeping well? I'm like, just Slavic. That's what my mom tells me. We have deep set eyes and these bags are just natural. And then there's, you know, I got, my eyes got sunburnt when I was like 16 because I spent all day at the beach during my birthday, and it's never been the same. So I have these red eyes, right? That says something to people. It might say to one person, oh, this guy, he must smoke a lot of weed.
Yeah, he's a stoner.
Yeah. And I'm not really a stoner. And to other people, it'll say I'm tired. To other people, it'll say, oh, that's not very, professional. He comes looking all bedraggled like that, and so every little thing, right? If your shirt's wrinkled a little bit, what kind of bag you have, what kind of shoes you have, your body language, little micro expressions in your face, like all of these things matter to somebody. And so like you were saying, the intention that you have, the message that you want to send, those things are really, really important when you're shooting. And especially if you get into shooting, being paid to shoot. So you have to consider those things quite a bit.
So how long have you been shooting photography professionally? I just said professionally. It's professionally.
Professionally, I've well, it's I don't know. I guess I could say, the first commercial project I worked on, I was a junior in high school or a sophomore in high school, and that's coming out of Y&I. We have our video production program that's expanded into a lot of other things, called C-Redder Productions. And we actually did these, like, what would I call it? They're kind of like, what's the word? There were demonstrations of these scenarios that could possibly take place. It was for this company called American Healthways, and it was these like health scenarios, like an elderly person needing help and they can't find somebody to help them, and all these kind of things, right? So we're like 15, 16-year-old kids working on this stuff, and it was great experience to just be kind of put into a setting where, like, there's money at stake. You have to hit deadlines. You have to make it what they want it to be. It has to serve its purpose, right? And it taught me a lot coming through that program, that, the client is, I wouldn't say that the customer's always right. That's the old saying, right? But pretty close, and
because they have a vision and you have to meet that vision.
Yeah. Some people will come with everything in their mind already, what they want. And hopefully they're coming to you because they think that you're the person who can deliver what they want. You have the style, you have what's going on in your head probably matches their vision best out of anybody that they could choose. That's the hope. And it doesn't always work out like that. And sometimes you wonder, if you wanted this, then why did you come to me? But you just want to work with them as much as possible. That's the nature of collaborative arts.
Got a whole thing on the whole Star Wars sequels and how that turned out completely different from what everybody expected it to be. It's like, you hired the wrong person, and then you hire Dave Favreau and John Filoni for The Mandalorian, and that's like, yes, that's what we were looking for.
Yeah, Favreau and Filoni they obviously love it.
They obviously love Star Wars, and they know the history.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the video where Filoni is explaining the Duel of the Fates?
No.
Oh man, it's so
the song or the scene?
The scene and the song.
Okay.
So John Williams, I think is his name. John Williams, the composer. He's done all the Star Wars stuff. He's a genius. That's another thing I like to nerd out on, is just like these guys on YouTube will break down music in movies and sometimes albums and things like that. But the score especially is really interesting because they'll put in little motifs and little things in here and there to just remind you of a certain character or a certain feeling.
Yeah, and they did that a lot in Star Wars.
All the time. Yeah. And so, to paraphrase, basically, it's called a Duel of the Fates because it's that scene where Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan are fighting Darth Maul, they are the dueling fates of Anakin Skywalker. Depending on who wins, he either goes light or dark, and they lost. So ultimately, he fell, and it's one of those kind of questions, and it basically says, like, if Qui-Gon survived that, would Obi-Wan not have failed Anakin in the end, right? Would Anakin have stayed? Because Qui-Gon was more of a rebel than the other Jedi. They were kind of stuck into politics at that point and a little too rigid for his liking. And he was like, no, we probably could use a little love here, like nurturing this boy needs a father kind of thing. And he gets killed. And we see what happens after that. So
that is interesting. I never looked at it from that point of view.
Right.
Like totally diverged from like the photography part of the podcast.
Oh yeah. But well, I mean, that's the story though, right?
But I love doing that. I love going on tangents, and I digress.
Totally. Yeah. But we can learn from that.
Right.
We can, at one point, I think the prequels were looked at as, they were just terrible. And then you hear a perspective like that and you're like, wow, okay, maybe there's a little bit more to this than
I mean, they have their ups and downs,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Jar Jar Binks, you could have done away with that person, that character. Like nobody likes him. Even my kids don't like him.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, okay. Sorry, George. You failed on that.
Yeah.
On that part.
Yeah. Although I do like the fan theory that Jar Jar is a secret Sith Lord.
Oh, yes. I've heard that one.
That he's like secretly manipulating people. And there's like dialogue that hints that here and there.
And he kind of placed himself in...
Yeah, he's just...
In like the movies to put himself on the timeline to be a successor in the Senate and all that.
Right.
Huh.
I love fan theories.
Huh.
But yeah, anyway, getting back to, what we were talking about, just story, we can learn from all of these things, right? And watching movies it could be very useful for somebody who's trying to learn how to communicate better visually, because they do it well. The good movies do it without saying anything. They show you.
So you're saying the photography, the biggest question you're asking is, what do they use the pictures for? What story are they trying to get out of that picture? And that makes your whole decision-making process right there, or that starts it.
Yeah. Because you can vary in intention in infinite ways, right? Sometimes people want pictures just for themselves. They're never going to share them. They're never going to publish them anywhere. Sometimes people want them for commercial use, right? So they are going to be out there in public selling something. Sometimes people want them to tell stories. Maybe they're part of a bigger project, a long-term project. Sometimes they're for only select eyes to see, right? So it's you got to consider all of these things when you're planning, when you're you got to be clear on the wants and needs of your clients in order to deliver what they want and to get a good job, to do a good job, and then hopefully they recommend you to all their friends and family, like, hey, this person knows what they're doing. You can trust them. They're good vibes. They produce a good product. They foster a warm and welcoming and comfortable kind of environment on set. That's so important, especially these days where, I don't know if you see that kind of stuff, but I feel like I follow lots of other photographers and people involved in that sort of stuff, and Hawaii's small. Even the bigger cities are small in the social media era, and if you do something that makes somebody feel uncomfortable or wronged, everybody will know. You know, and it's not like I need an extra excuse to be a decent person to the people I'm working with, or just anybody in general.
Right.
But
There was a photographer locally a few years ago. It was in the newspaper. It was taking pictures mostly of like women in bikinis and I guess boudoir type of things. And I guess he had done something wrong to underage girl or something.
Yeah,
I don't know the whole facts of it, but
yeah,
that exploded in the news. And
yeah, I people probably remember that case, and there have been several. You know, that it's kind of, it's sad that that kind of stuff happens more. I think it happens more than people realize, and you know, there are a lot of people who have been done wrong in that sort of way. And you know, it's sad because obviously it's hurtful. It it really messes with somebody to be assaulted in that sort of way, and then it, you know, just sours their experience when it comes to creating in that sort of way. And you just, I don't know, you want people to feel positive about this, right? You want people to want to do it more and more and more, to want to create, to want to, you know, so I mean, that's kind of self-explanatory. It goes for any business, right? If you want a return customer, you want to make them feel good, you want to make them feel appreciated, you want to do a good job and all that stuff. So, yeah.
so storytelling with photography, but we are also diving into, before we even started recording, storytelling and the stories that have come out from things like Christmas. And you have this whole interest, and was it maybe a hobby, looking at like the geography and looking back into history and seeing, like, you know, we're going to diverge the conversation into like the paganism of modern day religions and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well,
it's not because you have a beard. I mean, it's just, I'm jealous because I can't. Or because
I'm watching Vikings right now.
Yeah.
You know,
it's a great show. If you haven't seen Vikings on History Channel, do it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I wouldn't consider myself a religious person, but I've always had an interest in all that kind of stuff, myth, legend, stories, history that, you know, is verifiable and that isn't. I just find it really interesting to you know, scour the internet and look at maps and just imagine, okay, you know, how did we get the current form of English we speak? Well, it was a little bit of old Celtic, and then Old English, which is part Anglo-Saxon, and then Norman French with the, you know, the William the Conqueror invading, and then voila, we have over half our language is French.
Right. Which is why our spelling is kind of messed up.
It's crazy. English is crazy.
there. And through and through. It's like, what?
Right. No, it's and that's why I, you know, when you hear like that English is a really difficult language for some people to learn, I totally get it. Yeah. And I'm no linguist here. I do have, you know, just an interest in how things have all connected over, you know, the centuries, but
right, just the days of the week, right? We got Sun's Day,
right,
Moon's Day, Tuesday. Two is a Norse god, right?
Maybe it's, I don't know. I'm not sure about that one, but I know about Wednesday, Thursday, Friday are Woden, Thor, and Frigga.
Woden's Day turns into Wednesday, Thor's Day. I still think we should say Thor's Day. It just sounds better. Thor's Day.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it sounds pretty epic, right?
And Saturn's Day.
Saturn, yeah. Right. And that's like, you know, over how many hundreds of years we've arrived at that, out of different cultures, right? Yep. Or like if you look at the calendar, right? Isn't August wasn't always a month. It was named after Augustus, I believe.
Augustus Caesar.
And so that's, you know, in human history, that's relatively recent.
Yeah. Same with July.
Right.
Julius. Or Where did June come from? I don't know.
It's probably Junius or something like that. I should know, but
Is
but yeah,
October from Octavian?
probably, maybe. I don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised. You know, I there's so much Roman influence in our world still. I mean, go look at any courthouse, or, well, maybe not any courthouse, but any like Capitol building, that's for sure. And you'll see, you know, columns that are inspired by, you know, classical Roman and Greek architecture, and you know, our Bill of Rights based off of things like the Magna Carta and things like that. That's like all kind of rediscoveries of ideas that were lost to them for a time, but were common in the Roman world and before.
I don't know, man. The Romans were kind of brutal. Did you see Barbarians?
Oh yeah, yes, I
So
did.
Barbarians on Netflix. Yeah, that's brutal. I like that show because they actually used Roman Latin in it, and then the antagonist, the German population, is actually speaking in German or Germanic. I don't know if it's modern German or older German.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to tell.
I just had the subtitles
I could
on them,
hear
like-
it being Germanic of some sort, but
I like that kind of stuff when they do that in movies where they actually use
oh yeah,
the original languages and stuff like that, and then they have subtitles. I love that.
yeah. I prefer watching foreign language films, anime, things like that with subtitles, because I just want to hear it. It sounds pretty cool, and voice acting is such a huge part of the experience. I mean, in live action, it's actual acting, so you know, and I don't want to see dubs, that's for sure, especially if it's live
hurtful.
action.
Yeah.
Like, no, yeah, I want to see them actually, you know, doing their real thing, and I want to appreciate the work that it took to learn those lines in a language that, you know, many of the actors probably don't know. So yeah, I'm with you there. And that was a good show. That is a story I feel like we haven't seen it in Hollywood. That
Right. So it's the story of the Varus's legions going into the Teutoburg forest in Germany and not coming out. And like three Roman legions went in, and like none of them came out.
right.
And
What was the
nobody
son's
survived.
what was the son's name? I forgot. What did he call him? That's a pretty famous story in history. That they would take. I mean, this is something that happened, right? They would take the sons of conquered leaders, raise them in the capital, teach them their ways.
Where we get the word hostage from, because they would call them hostage or something like that,
Okay,
which had a different meaning back then. But
it
it basically was like, we're going to take your son back to Rome, and we're going to make him Roman. He's going to grow up there, you know, from childhood on to adulthood, and join the Roman legions, and you know,
right,
be a Roman.
and hopefully it kind of sows some seeds of you know, brotherhood between these former enemies, right? Yeah, it's happened all throughout history. I know the same thing happened to Vlad the Impaler and his brothers.
Ooh, Dracula.
in the Ottoman Empire. They were raised in Constantinople, and they end up rebelling as well. So, you know, it's not like it's a great plan all the time, but yeah, it's common practice, I guess, over the centuries.
Yeah, I guess it was a way for Rome back in the day to expand their influence and really cement their influence on these peoples that they're expanding. They didn't have social media and the internet, you know.
Yeah. And the Germanic peoples were, well, that's where the line stopped, right? Is they were notoriously difficult to manage, so they didn't go up any further into those lands.
No. But it was a good show. I like the artistic expression of how they use the language and stuff like that. They didn't have, you know, British actors talking.
I know. Isn't that like
Spartacus? It was horrible. Spartacus was horrible.
300. I remember seeing this video. Like, Leonidas is from the most Scottish part of Sparta because of Gerard Butler. who I love. But yeah, that's just a thing, right? Any foreign lands, they just somehow have a British accent.
They just do. I don't know. Even some of the old like World War II movies where like the German officers would speak British. I was like, what? No. Actually, Germans, when they speak English, they actually sound more American than they do British. When a German,
I guess,
right?
yeah.
When a German speaker from Germany learns English, they don't sound like a British person sounds. They sound more like an American person sounds.
Maybe that's just
kind of delves into why Americans speak the way they're like our accent is less like a British accent, more like a German who's learned English speaks it, because a lot of German immigrants came into the colonies and stuff.
I guess, I mean, it would make sense to me that happens because of the difference of the language, because English is English. They may sound different across the pond, but they're still speaking the same language. So like they may not want to just drop the accent. But if somebody's coming from a language like German, which is just different than English, then maybe they'll take on some of the accent in the learning. And of course we know what German accents sound like, but
I met a guy from
I hear what you're saying.
I met a guy from New Zealand, and he said his name was Cal. Oh, is that C-A-L? No, Cal. Cal. I'm sorry. In American, it's Carl. Oh, Carl. Your name's Carl.
Yeah.
Cal. Like, why even have an R in your name, bud?
Yeah.
Cal. It's a good guy. It's fun.
That's a place I want to go to.
New Zealand?
To visit. Yeah.
Oh, see, now we're going to start geeking out on like Lord of the Rings.
Oh, man. We could do that.
How much time
But yeah, no, I've that's like near the top of my bucket list.
Going over there?
Yeah. Really, really want to go, because it just, well, I don't know. I want to visit all kinds of places in Polynesia, Tahiti, and my friends who are from or have family from Samoa, they always just tell me how beautiful it is and how great a place it is. I'd love to go there, but yeah, I mean, New Zealand and Lord of the Rings has a part to play in that. The reason I want to go.
Yeah, I mean, New Zealand, just the topography of New Zealand. You have like the plains, and you have these huge mountains, and then you have tropical forests and jungles and, ocean beaches and stuff like that. It's like it's got everything all on that one land.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, kind of like the Big Island in a way.
Yeah. But I think that's one of the main reasons why they filmed Lord of the Rings over there, right? Because they could find all of these locations there.
Yeah, they have a lot of variety they could choose from.
Yeah, and they've turned the Shire, where they filmed the Shire, they've turned the whole thing into a tourist thing.
Right.
Yeah, definitely want to go there.
Right.
We were talking about some of the families that we travel with. We're talking about doing RVing over there. But then we looked into it, and like, number one, you drive on the other side of the road. Mm-hmm. And number two, the cars are all smaller. So even the RVs are like way smaller. It's like a big van compared to the RVs that you can rent, in the mainland US, like actual RVs.
Right.
So we're like, nah, it's not really what we're going to do. Can't take a shower in that. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, that's the case in most foreign places, right? Where the cars are much smaller. We just have these behemoths in the US where
we like our cars. We like our big cars.
Even like I drive an Altima, and that's like twice as big as some of the cars I saw in Italy or in China. It's like all these little Volkswagens and Mercedes and stuff like that. They just can't. Well, maybe not in China, but a lot of other places they have a lot more restrictive, emissions laws. That's part of it. They don't have the kind of access to fossil fuels that we do.
They don't have big roads either.
Yeah, their roads are not. Yeah, they're very old, right? In some places, so they can't just widen like we do here.
Yeah. So back into photography, you said you had this crazy nerdy story.
Yeah, it's
wrestling.
I tell people once in a while, like, just because I'm a stickler for, like clarity, and I wouldn't say like I'm super, like there are people who are way worse about like gear. They just need the new gear, and it's not good enough if it's not the new mark. 3 thing, you know, whatever. But anyway, my story begins in like adolescence, watching professional wrestling, WCW, WWF, and it was this, you know, it was this just, I don't know if I knew it at the time, but I realized it later that I preferred WCW because the video quality was superior, in my opinion. Like WWF looked a little fuzzy all the time. I don't know if it was just USA versus TNT.
That could make a huge difference. Yeah.
You know, but and watching it later, I can appreciate both. But yeah, it was just this thing. I knew I liked WCW because it just looked better. It just looked like crisper and cleaner. And, you know, so I knew that from that point, it was definitely something I was interested in, just creating images in that way and filming things, taking pictures of things and people. And as I've gotten older, I think I realized that like what I like to do most when it comes to, you know, creating imagery is I like to be around and document and kind of like take portraits of people when they're practicing what it is they're passionate about. Like, I don't think there's anything better than that. And that could be anything from, you know, something that's like widely considered, you know, pretty, like, hey, you know, show me a ballet dancer, right? I'll shoot that all day because that's just amazing. It's impressive, first of all. It's aesthetically pleasing, right? And if it's somebody who's like, they're just in the zone doing their thing, right? Then that's just infectious to me. But even something like I used to work at one of the community colleges, and I used to be able to shoot, you know, students learning how to weld, or carpenters, or you know, masons, things like that. Like, that's super interesting too. I don't know how to do that stuff, you know. And welding is very visual. I mean, you could probably imagine sparks flying, and you know, that's very interesting to look at to me. But yeah, again, it's just seeing people really get into their zone. I like that.
It's funny you bring that up because I've always thought it was interesting to see people that are, like, you go to the airport, you're checking in or whatever, you're at grocery store or what have you, any place where someone's looking at the person that you're dealing with behind the counter. They're actually really engaged and they're looking at something and they're trying to fix something, or they're actually focused in on that. It's always interesting to me to see their face and see their eyes and what they're focused on and what they're pointing at and stuff like that. Because it kind of tells a story. It's like, what's going on in their head right now? I always wonder that. It's like, what are they looking at? What are they concentrating on? It just looks like they're so concentrated on, you know, whatever job it is they're doing. And, you know, a lot of the time it's to help you, the customer, right? So it's like, I just made that person really concentrate on something. What are they concentrating on? It's a weird frame of mind. But
yeah. They have their task at hand. And you can see the difference between somebody who's fully engaged and like enjoying their job, of course, versus somebody who's like, you know, just there and trying to go through it because that's what they've got. That's the card they've been dealt at that given
I've
time.
never seen that look at the DMV.
Someone who enjoys handling that's probably a rare one.
Yeah.
But I'm sure we could probably find somebody out there who's like just jazzed up every day to, you know, receive registration payments and take, you know, ID pictures and things like that.
Never know.
Yeah.
Be like Flash on Zootopia.
I've never seen Zootopia.
Oh, he's the sloth.
But that's the sloth. I figured.
At the DMV.
Yeah. But imagine someone who is really enjoying their job at the DMV, how much better that would make the experience for the people who are coming in expecting this. Oh my God, I got to go to the DMV, right? Oh, I got to renew my license.
But don't get me wrong, they're hard workers at the DMV.
Obviously, yeah. And that's, again, it's impressive.
Yeah.
The mental fortitude and the, I mean, just to handle people in that sort of way, that is very impressive to me.
It's the same thing every day. Same thing. Same process every day.
And some disgruntled people.
Yeah.
People who don't want to be there. Like, that's
shout out to the DMV guys.
Yeah, seriously.
Don't cancel my license because I said that.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like I was saying earlier, is there something that you've always kind of been curious about when it comes to taking pictures? Or like you mentioned how you just want your guest to look as good as possible, right?
Right. I mean, so I've always kind of delved into videography, never really photography, growing up. And, you know, through high school, I did editing and helped with the senior video and that stuff. I just always liked filming. I played hockey, and I was always liked to have myself on, you know, the big screen, you know, and being filmed doing that. But that wasn't necessarily me filming it, but it was me kind of setting up the camera and thing like that. And I think it just delved into just wanting that to look better and be better. And then editing, you know, cutting and chopping up parts to make a long show or episode, a long recording, you know, more manageable down to like 5 minutes or whatever. And that kind of just led into, you know, the podcast and wanting to do that. So one of the goals of the podcast, I always say, is like to make the guests look good, sound good. And I wanted to, you know, get as much of that involved with the lighting and the cameras and the lenses and stuff like that. And then to put it out on, you know, platforms like YouTube and stuff like that. So it does look good. So when someone watches it, they can see, hey, this is a quality product that they're watching. It's not just
put effort into it.
Right. It's not just someone with a webcam with zero good lighting and crappy microphones, you know, or their cell phone microphone. You know. It's actually some quality product that's put into it. Yeah.
I think, I mean, that's a really admirable quality to look at what you've done and constantly be like, okay, how can I make it better? Right. And like we've texted about lights and things like that. And then I like to help somebody, and not that I helped you immensely. I did a little, but like I like to give tips and stuff to people I know are hungry to learn. Like there are a lot of people who will ask and then you won't see anything come of it. And it's okay. It's whatever. You take it for what it is, right? Do with it what you will. But yeah, I like, there's a couple of people that I, you know, consider friends of mine who are really like, they're just hungry. And I'm so happy to answer questions that they have about, you know, just what kind of lenses should I get? What kind of, you know, camera should I look at getting? Is there, you know, a certain amount of money I should spend? That kind of stuff. And I just really enjoy helping in that regard. Because I feel like if I'm not teaching somebody, then I'm sort of wasting my time. Sort of, you know, you help somebody to find maybe something that they're passionate about and they never knew it. And ideally, they can make money off of it. And especially right now when things are tough for a lot of people. I mean, photography it definitely helps me, you know, to have that extra cushion.
Especially in the digital world nowadays where like everybody's got a camera, you know, everybody has a cell phone and a camera. I wanted to ask.
Oh yeah.
Did you see that thing in the news about the blue UFO out over the ocean?
Yeah, I've seen the report.
And then like
I didn't see it.
Right. A few months before there was like those lights that went across the horizon kind of slowly that a lot of people saw.
Yeah, I think I heard about that too.
So how come how do you take good pictures and video of that kind of stuff?
Oh my God.
I mean, it's dark, it's night, you're looking at a light out in the sky.
Yeah.
That's got to be tough because there hasn't been like good video footage of any of that stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. So it's a thing that you don't expect to happen, right?
Yeah.
You're not just out there looking for UFOs unless you're out there looking for
One
UFOs.
of those people, right?
But Hawaii doesn't strike me as the place to do that, right? And yet we have these things happen, and I've heard several. You know, they tend to be near one of the bases, maybe flying over the mountains in Waianae, around, you know, Wheeler and Schofield and stuff, and or you know, out in the ocean is this new one, right? But I mean, if you see something, it depends how big it is, right? And like how light it is or how illuminated it is at night. Our phones will do their best, but it's hard. Yeah, I know that's one of the running jokes is like, okay, if there's all these sightings, why has nobody taken anything decent, you know, any decent video of it, right? But it's like, imagine, I don't know, imagine trying to take a picture of a plane at night and you see blinking lights and stuff, but like that's still difficult.
Yeah, you're gonna get a blurry light.
Right.
You're not gonna get a plane.
And planes are just moving in a straight line.
Mm-hmm.
UFOs, right? They move in different ways. Some of them are really erratic, and so yeah. Now imagine, you know, 20, 30 years ago trying to get something like that with a camcorder. How
extremely
difficult that
rare,
would be.
extremely hard. Yeah.
Right. You'd have to actually go in the house, like, babe, get the cam, you know, and I can't imagine, but we have all those things to watch, which, you know, another one of those things I like to nerd out on every once in a while. But no, I don't know. That's a tough one to see a UFO and shoot it. I mean, we do. Yeah, we have the advantage of having cameras on our hips all the time now. But as good as the cell phone cameras are these days, there's still limitations when there's very little light to actually shoot with.
Yeah, that's a great point. Try taking a picture. Well, I guess you could work on taking pictures of planes at night and build your skill set up from there.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I have some friends who they do like stellar photography. So they do like long
stars
exposures.
And
yeah, stars and even landscapes that are just at night. And it's like, you need a tripod. You got to understand how, you know, shutter speed works and exactly what that does to your exposure. But it's doable. You can learn it, right? And like we were saying earlier, even if you're not so good at it now, you can get better. And I would definitely recommend, I mean, just hit up any of your favorite photographers on IG and they might answer. I would probably answer if people had like, you know, just random questions for me, techie questions. And then go to YouTube because there's a ton of stuff on YouTube that's just free. It's great knowledge. Like
YouTube University.
Yeah,
Right
I taught myself how to use Adobe InDesign a couple years ago on YouTube. These guys called Bring Your Own Laptop. Amazing. Like, so, you know, getting used to the camera, it's like knowing your gear, learning how to look at light and see what you can do with it, what you can't do with it, and understanding your limitations physically, mentally, you know, what are your tendencies emotionally, what kind of things are you interested in, and again, what are you looking for? You know, is it just take pictures of pretty things? That's okay. Is it, you know, trying to tell a story? That'll probably last you longer in you know, making money off of it and stuff. That'll probably get you further. But yeah, just know some of those things. Get yourself into it and give it time.
I guess it's like any other hobby. If you want to become good at it, do it and do it.
For sure.
All right, Nick, thank you so much for coming on the show. We're out of time here. Any last words?
Oh no, I probably talked more than you.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on the show, though, dude.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for the help.
Appreciate you having me. Oh, yeah. No problem.
All right.
We're looking pretty good here.
We are. All right, everybody. Stay happy, Hawaii.